Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Nic Cage Fight podcast. Where I don't really have a joke for this one. We're all ghosts. We're stuck in the Ghostlands. We're prisoners there, and we are not allowed out till we review this movie. I'm one of your hosts, Josh, joined as always by Rich and Ryan. How are we feeling?
I lost my testicle.
Welcome to the Nic Cage Fight podcast, where we can't afford Tucker Carlson again.
Oh, that was a one shot. We used all of our money on that one.
Yeah.
but
Sorry, everybody.
we're here-
Sorry, you fucking Tucker stands.
We're here. Oh, I'm sorry, just because it's timely to mention this now. There's this dude who does like a prank call YouTube show called Prank Stallone, I think is the name he does it under, and he definitely called Alex Jones spoofing Tucker Carlson's phone number and had a Tucker Carlson AI voice and completely fooled Alex Jones.
That's excellent.
I'm really excited to
That's-
see the footage from that.
That's real cool.
Yeah. So anyway, we are here today to talk about a 2021 unrated film with a runtime of an hour and 43 minutes. This was an interesting one. I enjoyed it. Also, if you're the kind of person that likes visuals in your movies more so than coherent linear storytelling,
And things
this
making
movie is
sense.
up your alley. There's a lot of very, very pretty and well done shots, in my opinion. So, with that as an intro, why don't we jump right into housekeeping?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So, first up, we have the director, Sion Sono or Sion Sono. I'm not quite sure if I'm pronouncing
I
that
think
right.
yeah, Sion Sono.
I was about to say, I think Ryan's going to have to do the heavy lifting on this one because I do not know a lot of Japanese movies, and it seems like that is exclusively what Ryan watches.
I mean, yeah, I watch a lot of Japanese trash, a lot of Japanese 70s exploitation films.
So, CV wise, Sion has done Love Exposure, Why Don't You Play in Hell, Suicide Club, and Tokyo Vampire Hotel.
Oh, wait, I
Just to name a
have
few.
seen Tokyo Vampire Hotel.
I got to shout out Tag from 2015. That movie rules. But also, I did find out when doing a little digging on this movie, this man might be a sex crime. Yeah, it's a bummer.
You hate to see it.
You hate to see it.
Well, what are you gonna do? It's
What am I
Hollywood.
supposed to do?
It's right for
Not
it.
commit sex crimes? That's really
We're still
hard.
giving Polanski fucking awards and shit. So
Yeah.
Are we really?
Yeah.
I
he
don't
got-
think
what was
anymore,
it,
but he definitely
Cannes?
got him after all of that shit came out.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like, they're still letting him make movies, and that's a bit too much.
Yeah.
Very
So-
true.
On to the writers for this one. This was interesting because one of the two writers, starting off with them first, Aaron Hendry. This is the only thing he's ever written. He's primarily an actor, with roles in Beer Fest, The Inhumans, Teen Wolf, not the Michael J. Fox one, and School of Rock. So make of that what you will. And then next up, we have Reza Sixo Safai. Again, probably not pronouncing that correctly, but they only ever wrote for three things: this film, The Persian Connection, and Sabotage. I have no familiarity with either of those other two offerings.
He's also got some acting credits. He was in a good vampire movie called A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night that I like quite a bit.
So a movie that seems to have been written primarily by actors, but
You know what? Now, in like thinking back on the movie, that makes sense because the actors, I feel like, are given a lot of room to kind of chew the scenery.
Yeah, there is a lot of scenery chewing. I'm surprised there was any scenery left at all.
Yeah,
So-
it's just a mound of tobacco left after like a game of baseball. Like that's how chewed it was.
Yeah.
Very fair. Moving on to the cast, we have, as always, topping the list, Nic Cage as Hero. Next up, we have Sophia Botella as Bernice. She was in Kingsman: Secret Service, Star Trek Beyond, the 2017 Mummy film, and Atomic Blonde.
I heard Atomic Blonde's pretty good. I got to get around to that one.
I've heard the same thing and have not seen it myself yet.
Have not seen it, so
In
couldn't say.
in Kingsman, if I'm remembering correctly, she was Samuel L. Jackson's like hit woman lady who had like the Oscar Pistorius legs that were also swords or something. If
Oh,
if I'm
okay.
remembering correctly. Next up, we have Nick Cassavetes or Cassavetes as Psycho. This person is pretty interesting. They have a role in one of the Holy Trinity Nic Cage films, Face Off. He was also in The Astronaut's Wife. And my favorite little anecdote about this individual is they directed the movie Alpha Dog. That's right. One of Justin Timberlake's most fantastic film roles. Also starring the late great Anton Yelchin. Rest in peace to a real one there.
And I think we've spoken on that film before on the pod.
I'm almost positive it's one of my more favorite films, so I'm fairly certain I've mentioned it before. Next up, we have Bill Moseley as the governor. Bill Moseley was in Repo, the Genetic Opera, but probably most recognizable as Otis from the Rob Zombie films, House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, the other ones whose names are escaping me right now, but a pretty mainstay character from those films.
For me, he's most recognizable as Chop Top in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, the one where Dennis Hopper dual wields chainsaws. It's real good.
It's been a minute since I've seen Texas Chainsaw 2, but I do distinctly remember his character.
Yeah.
Mainly because he seemed like the framework for the shit that he did for Rob Zombie later on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's been in a bunch of like earlier horror flicks too. He's like one of the extras in Army of Darkness. He was in Freddy's Nightmares, the TV series, for like one episode.
Oh, so he's like one of those guys that I feel like the same six guys played every slasher in all the 80s slasher movies.
Sort of. He's usually more like a side character.
Okay.
Yeah. He was also in Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, one of my favorite Christmas movies.
It took you to the third one for it to hit the favorites list?
I mean, the second one has that glorious moment where the dude just says "garbage day," pulls out a revolver and shoots some dude taking his trash out. So they're all pretty good.
Fair enough. Next up, we have Tak Sakaguchi as Yasujiro, and this individual was in Versus, which I know Ryan watched recently.
It's awesome.
Shinobi Heart Under Blade, Sakagaki Otokojuku. I don't even know why I included that one in the list.
All right,
I'll put myself through that.
I'll shout out the ones I like him from. He's in Godzilla Final Wars. He's in a couple episodes of some Kamen Rider series. He's in a movie called Tokyo Gore Police that is as insane as it sounds.
It sounds awesome.
He's in Mutant Girl Squad, which is also as insane as it sounds. But mostly he's actually known as a fight choreographer.
Interesting. I loved his fucking sword fight scenes in this movie, so
yeah,
no,
he's
not
great.
Surprised. Next up, we have Charles Glover as Enoch. Charles Glover was in Shin Godzilla, did a voice in Detective Conan, and then a fair amount of his repertoire of work appears to be video game voice work.
Just going back to Tack over here, he's in a movie called Battlefield Baseball that I think I need to see.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Japanese, like,
sorry, I went down a rabbit hole. Like,
yeah, sports movies that are not like serious dramas in Japan can get insane. So I'm gonna have to watch that one too.
I'm sorry,
like
Josh.
Don't they have a bunch of sports like animes? Now I've never.
Oh, they have a shit ton.
Yeah,
they all rule.
Yeah, so I'm not surprised by that, and that movie does sound like it would be ridiculous. We might have to check it out. Next on our list, we have Shin Shimizu as Deputy Shin, who was in Westworld, the HBO show, a film called Lion Girl, The Forest, A Killer of Men. Not overly familiar with those personally, but some of them sound pretty cool.
Yeah, this guy didn't really ring any bells for me, and I did check his IMDb. I didn't notice anything that was really outstanding from him.
Next up, we have Takato Yonemoto as Sheriff Takato, who is in 47 Ronin, which is a relatively recent Keanu Reeves supernatural samurai film if I remember correctly. A movie called The First Gentleman, the show The Good Place, and for our video game fans out there, the recently released Monster Hunter style game Wild Hearts. This guy does the main character voice.
Nice.
And then last up, I have Kanan Nawata as Nancy, who has been in While the Women Are Sleeping, Lying to Mom, Mrs. Noisy, and Red Post on Escher Street.
I don't know what any of those are, but she looked familiar. Let me do a quick little dive and see if, nope, she has not been in anything I've seen other than this.
Also, just by the way, just to point out, because I originally thought that this before I do housekeeping typically prior to my first watch, but I thought this was the actress who played Susie. This is not Susie. This is one of Bernice's friends.
Mm-hmm.
Susie is played by Yuzuka Nakaya, and I am really unfamiliar with all of her other stuff, but she only has 6 acting credits. I did think she looked familiar though, so just got one of those kinds of faces, I guess. And that is all I have for housekeeping, but I'm going to pause for Ryan here because I'm assuming you have a couple of people that I might have missed.
I've got one that you missed. Tetsu Watanabe. He plays Nabe. He was in a bunch of movies I really like. He's in Minbo, a Jozo Utami film about a woman who tricks the mafia or tricks the Yakuza into stopping harassing this like resort, basically. Like they're trying to like con rich people in it, and she pulls some very clever shit that gets them to stop. He was also in Dreams, the Akira Kurosawa film, which is phenomenal. The Takashi Kitano film Sonatine, and there was one other one that I'm trying to find that rules. Takashi Miike's Ley Lines, a crime film.
Gotcha. And just because I love this character in the film, I'm gonna retroactively throw him on there. Young Dias, who plays Ratman in this film, a small CV, but he was in The Outsider, Tokyo Tribe, and The Forest of Love Deep Cut, which was a TV miniseries that a couple of other actors and actresses on this list were in as well. So
it also looks like he did a voice in Devilman Crybaby, which is the most heartbreaking fucking anime I've ever seen in my life.
I just saw that too. That's funny.
Sorry, I may just have to hold my microphone because everything just fell down around me.
Oh no.
I saw it fall. We extended housekeeping specifically to give you some time.
It's just being held at this point. I don't know what to do.
Hey, Rich, you know what might help you with your microphone situation?
Oh, what's that?
Goods and services. I hear you can exchange money for things like boom arms that hold your microphones and stuff. Maybe in this batch of ads, there will be one for you. So you'll just have to listen back after we post this episode to see.
Oh, hell yeah. That's going to happen right now. All right. I just ordered that boom mic from BYU.com.
Oh, yeah? They're selling tech now?
Yeah. I mean, what else are they going to do? I mean,
wear special underwear.
Yeah. The underwear makes it so that your boom mic doesn't fall.
Yeah.
That's what makes it special.
All right. Now we got to get into the plot. I'm going to do my best. I wrote a lot of words for this, so I'm going to rely on my co-host to keep me moving as far as how the movie progresses, because there's a lot of stuff that we got to capture in description that isn't really necessarily advancing the plot. So let's just jump right in. The movie actually starts very strong. The opening scene is a child standing in front of a gumball machine against a stark white background. So you have this like rainbow of colors. Kid who I think is wearing like a bright red sweater as well. A lot of color in the foreground and just pure white in the background. And Nic Cage as hero bursts into the bank with his fellow robber Psycho with guns, and they stick up the bank. The gumball kid offers one of the bank robbers a gumball, and time slows down at this point, and then we cut away from the bank scene to a street with the architecture in this film is really wild. The street is like a mix of Japanese style buildings and like old Western style buildings and signs with some neon and paper lamps, and it's a real mishmash.
Yeah, but
Real,
I felt it was like a really cool visual though. It really sets the scene as to like what to expect with this movie.
it is awesome, and it looks really cool, and it does play into a lot. We're going to see a lot of juxtaposition with some of this stuff, right? So along like railings and balconies of this building, there's a bunch of women dressed in kimonos, and there is a lone swordsman who is sort of watching the street before going inside. When he does, a woman whistles. I believe this is Susie, whistles, and three other women round the corner onto the street and proceed to sneak out of the town, while all of the other women that are on like the balconies or perched in windows are sort of like whispering encouragement of their escape or leaving this town. They get into a car, and we learn that the leader of this group of women is named Bernice, and one of the women asks Bernice if this is what it feels like to be free. They start the car, and then we get some interesting intercut scenes, right? Bernice wakes up sweaty on like a dirty cot, missing most of the nice clothes that she left in. This is intercut with scenes of the car driving, literally almost cartoonishly spinning around a mile marker or street sign of some sort. Ominous figures like in old samurai armor, some of them silhouetted in a large truck's headlights with a horribly scarred man behind the wheel. Bernice wanders outside to see a village, I guess would be the appropriate thing to call it, that the center focal point is like a bunch of like wooden scaffolding and a giant clock that the arms don't appear to be moving on. Bernice screams, "I am not a prisoner," and then we get the title card.
Prisoners of the Ghostland.
Prisoners of the Ghostland.
Not a prisoner.
Yeah. Which is actually incredibly accurate, sort of. But we'll get to that. So we cut to a bizarre scene back in the town that Bernice fled. I also, in my notes, I fucked up in describing this. I keep calling it the Governor's Town, but it's called Samurai Town.
It is called Samurai Town. Yes. It is very dope.
So I'm going to try and keep that in mind as I go through this. But this is one of the visuals that I want to take a second to describe so you understand what kind of fucking movie you're dealing with here. There is this big like facade, like wall with like red drapery, right?
Oh, we're talking about this fucked up scene. Okay.
And holes cut in it, and there are women with their faces poked through the holes, and they're singing, and at the top of this red draped arch there is like a fake giant woman's face. I don't even know, because of like we see this in two different scenes and it seems gigantic, and I don't know where it actually is sitting in this town. But the ladies with their faces poking through are singing a song or something like that.
But here for the listening audience, it's like the words are, "In the night of dawn, who is behind you now?" It's very weird stuff.
Yeah, it's an odd scene. So we get a glimpse of this giant woman head wall. I'm not sure what to refer to it as, but there's also children playing soccer in the streets, and then we get cut between this. We see the back of a man with his hands chained behind him, obviously a prisoner of some sort.
Not of the Ghostland yet.
No, not of the Ghostland. Samurai Town prisoner. Western music starts playing. I say this specifically because the subtitles helpfully point out that it is Western music that is playing.
It's got the whistles.
Well, yeah, I mean, how do I know whether if it's country or Western?
Well, country is when you want to fuck your truck. Western is when you want to fuck your horse.
Gotcha. I was making more of a Blues
also
Brothers
a lot more
joke.
Whistles in Western music than country music.
Yeah.
Not saying there's no whistles in country music. There's Western just more in Western.
Usually
music.
Has that mouth harp that sounds like somebody's playing with a spring.
Oh yeah.
What kind of music do you guys play here? We got both kinds, country and Western.
So the chained man is Nic Cage, Hero, and the governor is making an appearance. Apparently, he is driving down the street, and there's like a bunch of people following the car and clapping and sort of singing some sort of song about the governor. There is a bunch of guys in this town dressed like cowboys. They appear to be functioning as like the local constabulary, but like I said, you can pick them out because they're all dressed like cowboys.
Yeah, it's like this town has two aesthetics. It's cowboys and geisha house. There's no in between.
Yeah, yeah. There's either cowboy dudes with guns or dudes in like the full samurai robes and swords.
Yeah.
So the cowboy guys collect Nic Cage from his cell as the car rolls down the street. And Cage is walked out wearing only I think of it as like a sumo wrestler loincloth. That's what it looks like to me. I'm sure it was also some type of regular undergarment, but that's the style.
Yeah, there's a term for it that I can't remember.
Yeah.
So before we go any further, I do want to play one more part of as he is walking out in the sumo white thing that I think our audience will enjoy.
It's called a fundoshi.
Oh, thank you. So here's that.
Let me see your balls.
Yes. Yeah, as he's
Yep.
walked out, everybody laughs and points camera phones at him too, which was kind of a
little bit surreal.
Yeah. And somebody calls out, "Let me see your balls," which I feel is appropriate.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. Very, very much appropriate.
Because there is a payoff.
There is a payoff.
So the governor examines Nic Cage. Oh, by the way, like there's a bunch of swordsmen and cowboys on the street, and everybody is pointing a weapon at Nic Cage, basically.
Well, they do something I love, which is they're all pointing the weapons at Nic Cage, but the governor keeps walking in front of them, and the guns go up as soon as he does that, and then they come back down as soon as he passes.
I actually missed that. That's funny.
That's called discipline, buddy.
Yeah.
So he actually, the governor details the results of that bank robbery we saw at the beginning. The gumball kid, we can assume, and a lot of other people died in the commission of that robbery. Yasujiro, the governor's primary bodyguard and swordsman, is instructed to get out, quote unquote, the suit. And the governor essentially details that his granddaughter Bernice took off, and he wants her back. So he's going to coerce Nic Cage into retrieving her. The governor hands Cage the suit.
And we do eventually find out that granddaughter is a terrible euphemism for what's actually going on.
Yeah, I was going to say, just so our listeners understand what is happening, the governor is a white man with a Yosemite Sam accent.
I got Colonel Sanders personally out of this man.
Is that just because of the pure white suit?
Yes.
Okay.
I was or possibly a foghorn leghorn. Like I feel like he should be saying "I say" every other word. However, so that is the governor, and his granddaughters are all Asian women who are dressed exactly alike and who look like cannot be any younger than 18 and any older than 24. So take that as you will.
Just to be clear, the governor refers to, at least directly, as his granddaughters, Bernice and Susie, who we're about to meet in our narrative retelling. But he does also seem to be generally in charge of this town, which the predominant structure seems to be some type of cat house. That's as best as I can describe it. It is not overly detailed what occurs there, but it's pretty apparent, right? So as you know, Cage is handed the suit. The young woman in the back of the governor's car freaks out and starts, wailing about Bernice. This is Susie.
And she has a toy robot.
She does have a toy robot. Da, 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 da. That happens a lot in the film.
Yes.
But Cage goes to change into the suit and drops the loincloth. In fact, I think he throws it at one of the women. There is a young woman sketching him pretty handily, and she has it mostly complete. But when he throws the loincloth, she quickly starts to erase the loincloth part of the drawing, which is hilarious. One of the women, I think, says, "I've seen better."
What one of the women does, but most of the women's are like in shock and awe. So I feel like that's Nic Cage being like, I think my character has a big dick, but not like crazy big, just like bigger than 95% of the guys.
So the suit. Let's talk about the suit real quick. It is all black leather, and it's got these like little orbs at several points. And yeah, I'll get to what those orbs are when the governor explains them.
It's a sick
Because
looking suit.
it is a cool looking suit. It's a cool fucking looking suit. But while we're busy wondering about the suit, at this point in the film, Susie starts singing a song. And the song is basically about a large clock that her grandfather had, or the song is about a grandfather with a large clock. And the townsfolk start singing along, and it like catches and grows until everybody is singing. And I think by the second or third verse, even the governor is singing. There's some coordinated clapping and everything too. It's very bizarre, but the song is catchy. So if you watch the movie, good luck keeping that from getting stuck in your head.
Yeah, I think it again that actually does a very good job of establishing what's his name? The grandfather. Why am I blanking on his name?
The governor.
Governor, thank you. As kind of like a cult of personality. Which again, I kind of enjoyed that like little wrinkle.
I agree to an extent. We'll get to the story beats there. I think it's probably more indicative of the weird ritual elements of the people that inhabit this world. Like a lot of things are accompanied with music and clapping and rhythm and stuff in general. This sort of seemed like it's just a rule. If somebody starts singing the song, everybody sings the song until you finish the song.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's odd. So Cage is now suited up, and the governor starts talking about how outside of Samurai Town there's a dangerous highway and people go missing, and everybody thinks it's ghosts. He's not so sure. Maybe it's just sodomites, according to him. It was his words. So he's pretty sure they're just bandits and that they've probably taken Bernice. So the governor shows Cage a picture of Bernice, and he comments something like, "Oh, I can see why you want her back." Some of the swordsmen in town get offended by his, I guess, compliment of Bernice. And so Cage fights some of them, like fist fights a couple of them. The townsfolk start clapping rhythmically, and then Yosujiro steps in and fucking handles the swordsman, just like cuts like 5 or 6 of them down, and puts that little uprising to rest.
There's a great scene. Cool.
There's a great scene here where Cage is mostly suited up, and like I said, he's just attacked some people who threaten him, and so the people holding guns on him are trying to get things back under control, and he punks them out a couple times, like jumps at him, makes him flinch. It's pretty funny. And then Cage finishes zipping up the suit, which activates the things attached to it. Those things are bombs. The governor gives us a brief explanation of how they work. There is a bomb on each arm, just below the elbow. There's a bomb for each, as the governor puts it, testicule. And then there are 2 bombs right at the neck of the collar. And so apparently the suit's bombs are attached to some pretty sophisticated scanning technology that can tell if the wearer is going to, quote, strike a helpless woman.
It's a psychic suit.
Yeah, kind of psychic suit. Now, also, the thing about the testicles bit, like they don't enunciate or enumerate this as clearly as the rules about the arm bombs, but it's basically like if you get aroused, your testicles are going bye-bye. But also, the bomb suit will go off after 3 days unless Bernice speaks her name into the microphone on the suit, at which point 2 additional days will be awarded to the countdown, and the suit can't be removed unless it's unlocked, and the governor keeps the key to the suit around his neck. So, pretty straightforward hero's journey laid out here, literal hero's journey.
Pretty straightforward escape from New York is what it is.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so far nothing too weird has happened other than show me your balls.
The presentation has been strange, but the overall story trope as laid out is familiar.
Okay,
Right.
I didn't find it too strange. It was kind of one of those things where, like, ever play like Game Dev Tycoon?
Nah.
Yeah, I
Are you
have.
familiar? Okay. Like, you can make a new game and you're just like, oh, I wonder how these two things mash together. So they took Western and Japanese horror and mashed it together. I thought it was interesting. Never thought anything was too weird, again, outside of show me your balls. Until we get to this next bonkers fucking scene.
It's probably the best. Well, it's one of the best scenes in the film as far as just for comedic effect. So the governor gives Cage keys to a car,
To a Toyota Camry.
a Toyota Camry, a very reliable vehicle.
It is very reliable.
Cage gets into. I had a Camry that I put almost a full 250,000 miles on. By the
God
way,
damn.
yeah.
Nice.
Um, so Cage gets into the car, whips it around a bit, of course, scaring the locals and civilians on the street, and then brakes suddenly, gets out of the vehicle, runs over to a bicycle with a basket attached to the handles, gets on it, and rides off. It is hilarious.
So cool.
Hilarious scene. And the cowboys standing on either side of the governor. One guy goes, "What a badass." And the other guy says, "He is so cool."
It is, though.
So
I
just
agree.
so everyone is aware, I was the last person to watch this movie. So I got to see Josh and Ryan talking about it in real time. And then I go to watch it. I'm just like, in our group chat, I'm like, I don't know what y'all are talking about. This movie seems absolutely fine. I'm actually enjoying it. And we got to that scene. I'm just like, oh, never mind. We are officially off the rails.
The bike bit doesn't last for too long. Yosujiro drives the car out to where Cage has gotten on his bicycle, and Cage relents, getting in the car to continue his search for Bernice. So
And I assume that Yasujiro rides the bike back, right?
that's
I
the only
guess
thing we
so.
can assume.
It doesn't show it, but like that's got to have been what happened.
Which I don't want to think about how carefully you'd have to ride a bike in those robes that he's wearing, because that shit's going to get caught in that chain.
Yeah.
And he's got swords.
And he's got, yeah,
Well, you
and
can keep
he's
those
got
in
a
the
sword on his
basket.
hip. But like, I came of age during the period in time where Jinko jeans were incredibly popular, when your primary mode of transportation was still a bicycle. And let me tell you,
Oh, I've
I
seen
got hurt.
people beef it up like that.
I got hurt several times with that wardrobe / transportation method combination. Not easy.
Well, yeah, because if you couldn't fit 2 additional feet into your pant legs, your pants were tight and you were gay.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess I was
That's-
really gay then.
That was the law. Do you know what else is gay?
Ads for Jenko jeans?
Is
God,
that still a
imagine-
company? Are they still making jeans?
Imagine if
Pretty
Jenko,
sure.
like, fucking, like, you know, we cut the ads. It's like Jenko jeans, the straightest pants you'll ever buy. Do you like Insane Clown Posse and Monster Energy drinks?
No.
Monster is too ubiquitous now. It's not. You can't even use that anymore.
I remember when there was like a religious backlash at Monster Energy because people were like, "This is symbol of the beast."
That's
That
still
was just
happening.
that one lady that went viral, and I'm pretty sure she had a legitimate case of medical brainworms.
I had an aunt that definitely agreed with that lady.
Ooh. Also, if I'm remembering that whole event correctly, that lady was a terrible anti-Semite. There was a whole lot of tying it to Hebrew something or the
Yes.
other shit. If
Because
I remember
like
correctly.
I do
because
recall that.
the M, because it's like not connected, it makes a like Hebrew, it makes 2 Hebrew letters. If you put them together, like it loosely translates to Satan. Like that's how it got there.
Yeah, that's not good. Don't do that shit, people.
But also, speaking of weird shit that we've talked about in the past, I went to go buy cigarettes the other day, and I saw that weird THC honey.
Oh. Well, I thought it was not the THC honey. It was the honey that has the active ingredient from Viagra.
That
The
isn't that
dick
still
honey.
Oh, damn
it's,
it! Okay,
it's
wrong,
gas
wrong
station
honey.
dick honey. I mean, I'd be down for some THC honey. I bet that goes real good in some herbal tea.
I'll check it out. I'll get someone to drop it off for you.
All right.
All right, now this is going as off the rails. It's the bike scene. Here's some ads.
How about that dick, honey?
I was about to say I have no joke coming out of this, so I'm just
Yeah, and I don't know what our ads are like these days. Some of our devoted listeners will occasionally inform me. They're like, by the way, this was advertised on your podcast the other day. And I was like, yeah, we don't get to pick those. We just try and fuck up the algorithm by dropping keywords. So
Oh, here's hoping we get that sponsorship from Jinko.
yeah, I feel like they need it. I don't see the teenagers walking around in Jenko jeans anymore.
No, it's had its heyday.
Yep. So almost immediately after Cage gets in the car and starts traveling, we see the men in samurai armor again in front of the headlights of a huge truck with the badly scarred man in the driver's seat. It looks like Cage like rams the car at them, but when we next see him, he's crashed his car into the remnants of a building, not this mysterious band of bandits. We also at this point get the first in a sequence of a weird dream sequence where Cage is walking through town in normal clothes, but everyone is wearing masks, and he's following the kid that was the gumball kid that was killed in the bank robbery. We get more context from this scene later on in the film because it keeps sort of lengthening how this is going. And some of it is the past, and some of it is some supernatural stuff. But we'll get there when we get there. At this point, we cut to Cage being brought on a like a hand-drawn cart of some sort into a different town. Real Mad Max wardrobes from these guys. They're some of my favorite guys in the film. I like when a film has a weird group of guys, like some
it's got some
little
premium
freaks.
dudes. They're absolute freaks.
Yeah.
Ratman's a freak.
Ratman is a freak, and Rat Gang is also awesome. They all dress super cool. Clear Mad Max inspiration because it's like it's
they look
all
like the Road
weird
Warriors.
tricked out
It's
bicycle
great.
helmets and like holiday decoration. One guy is
Yes.
wearing blinking Christmas lights. I swear to God. So pretty cool. But this is also this whole scene is one of the more surreal scenes in the film. There's also a woman being pulled on a cart next to Cage, and she is one of the women that left Samurai Town with Bernice in the beginning. She's the one who has blue hair. There is a bunch of mannequins in this town. So if you're creeped out by mannequins,
I am.
like I am and Ryan
Yes.
is, this is going to be a kind of disturbing scene. There's not only a bunch of mannequins, there are a bunch of people wearing mannequin parts and disguises, I guess, which is kind of odd. Past one of these houses that's missing a door, there are several people in like a busted up living room, most of them wearing mannequin disguises, and on the wall there is a poster of a nuclear explosion, which is going to be a running theme here. So as they get towards the center of the town, there is a bunch of people in like just covered in shredded white cloth. It almost looked like a whole group of people got horribly toilet papered on mischief night, and they're sort of running and moving through the town, and then they all sort of split at the same time to run to the sides, leaving strings of white cloth draped between them, while in the background we see the group approaching with the two hand-drawn carts with the two people on it.
We might actually have to explain what Mischief Night is because that's like a tri-state area thing.
Yeah, that's actually a uniquely South Jersey thing. I think in
Really?
Michigan too, it's called Devil's Night.
Yeah, it has a different name in a couple other states, but like there are maybe 5 states that actually have Mischief Night-esque things going on the day before Halloween.
Oh, well, to be fair, I wouldn't want to fucking try any of that in fucking Florida.
No.
Get shot to death. But okay, so a quick primer on Mischief Night. The night before Halloween, it is tradition for, again, in some specific locales, for teenagers to get together and do some petty vandalism, throwing rolls of toilet paper over people's houses or whipping eggs at front doors,
Toothpaste on the car door.
toothpaste on the car door, lighting a paper bag of poop on a porch and then ringing the doorbell,
Potato in the tailpipe.
letting it on fire. Yeah. Just like I said, petty vandalism, just to cause a little bit of a ruckus.
Right. And it is generally it's that age when you're too old to trick or treat,
Mm-hmm.
but not quite old enough to like stay home and watch horror movies on Christmas night. Not Christmas night, on Halloween night.
I mean, I definitely stay home and watch horror movies on Christmas night. That is a tradition for me.
Listen, at this point, there's a lot of good Santa horror movies.
Yeah, there definitely are.
And there's a lot of bad ones too. I'm going to watch Santa's Sleigh later because I love Bill Goldberg.
My Christmas watch list is primarily horror films, but I do every year I watch the Always Sunny Christmas special. Every year. It's the only one. It's the only Christmas themed thing I never miss.
I always watch Fellowship of the Ring.
Oh, that's fair.
It's just something we did.
Yeah.
So now we've covered some holiday shit. Amidst the people shrouded in white and the weird mannequin statues, there's an individual tall man dressed in all black with a top hat that's sort of lurking amongst the crowd. And now we also see the big clock in the center of town. So this is at least, Hero has arrived where Bernice at least was at some point, right? Now we get some more context to the clock and why the hands don't appear to be moving. There is a rope attached to the second hand, and there's a whole string of men that are holding this rope and pulling it to keep the second hand from moving. And while they're doing this, another man is shouting at them that they need to keep it from moving or another bomb will explode, which is weird. A woman dressed in all white, but not quite the shredded white clothing of some of the other folks, comes forward and touches the wound on Nic Cage's head, saying he has thick red blood and it's part of the prophecy, and that time will move again. The townsfolk rush at Cage as he gets up, saying, this is another one of my favorite scenes in the movie. He says, I will karate chop you.
I forgot about
that's
that.
When we get, he's like, I will karate chop you. And it gets better because then we meet Enoch, who explains that this place is called the Ghostland, and Nic Cage is still warding off villagers by saying, hi fucking yeah, hi fucking yeah.
Yeah.
Which is just perfect. So I take a brief moment to talk about this. So Nic Cage's character throughout most of this film, a vast majority of it, is like a normal, regular person reacting to an absurd scenario filled with strange people with strange customs. Because he immediately goes off here and says everybody in this town is fucking nuts, which is
correct,
an honest assessment.
Yeah.
Right. But he's like that in Samurai Town too, where it's just like everybody seems a little crazy, and Nic Cage seems like he's from our Earth, our time, and just reacting to the weird shit he's seeing. So that's pretty funny. Enoch explains that he's the leader of this tribe, and Cage starts asking people about Bernice, starts showing her picture around. Blue hair girl pipes up and says that they were running away from home. Multiple people in the Ghostlands say that they have seen her and that she's up in the mannequins. And that Cage has to go find her himself. So Cage starts walking through the mannequins. Again, some of them regular mannequins, some of them people wearing mannequin disguises, for lack of a better description. And the whole time, Top Hat Man is very perturbed by Hero's manipulation of the mannequins or the people dressed as mannequins. Cage finally comes up to the Bernice mannequin, and the top hat guy gives us some more explanation about the whole mannequin thing, saying that the mannequin people are hiding from ghosts, and he's helping them hide with these disguises by hiding them from the light.
Keeps the ghosts out.
Dresses as a mannequin. No more ghost problems.
Yeah,
I've never seen anybody try that in a ghost movie, in a ghost-based horror movie, but keep it in mind, I guess, if you're ever haunted. Ghosts hate mannequins.
Ghosts are afraid of mannequins. It's the one thing that scares ghosts.
I don't blame them.
Me neither. They're spooky.
Also, now that just made me think of a fucking Maniac, the other horror movie with the best use of mannequins.
Is that the one with the totally killer headbuster scene where Tom Savini's head just like the shotgun blast?
I can't. It's been forever since I've seen the original, and they did a remake with
Oh,
Elijah
yes.
Wood, I
This
think.
is the one I'm thinking of,
Okay.
where the dude's like just a serial killer who's going around
Yeah.
killing like happy couples.
Scalping people and putting their hair on
Yeah.
mannequins. Yeah.
Huh.
It's a classic.
It is a classic for a reason.
Yeah.
And it does have one of the best brain buster scenes of all time. Because it's definitely the movie I'm thinking of.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So with Bernice retrieved, Enoch indicates that she can't talk and that's what the prison has taken from her. He goes on to say the prison has taken things from all of them, even collectively their voice, but it's taken the most from the children, essentially their will to live, I believe is what he says. But we get a heavily laden with metaphor speech from Enoch about the prison that they are all in. Cage yells at Bernice because she's not being responsive at all and says he's taking her home. But of course, his bombs start beeping, so he has to calm down pretty quickly. He shows her the picture he has of her and her friends, and then he goes to take her away from the Ghostlands. Some of the townsfolk are saying, not to take her. Others are asking him to take them with him as well. And an old man warns that the demon kills anyone trying to escape. So as they leave, Top Hat Man starts placing mannequin parts on the blue hair girl who's left behind. Cage stops briefly to talk to Rat Man, one of the coolest dudes in the Ghostlands, who has like a number of like absurdly decked out like trucks.
There's a term for that in Japanese. It's decotora.
Huh.
Which means a portmanteau of decorative truck.
They're really cool. Like they got lights, and my favorite one is on the grill of one of them. There's just like a little backlit sign that says "crazy."
Yes. It was like part of it's like hot rod culture in Japan, but for truckers. They just trick out their trucks.
That's cool.
It is.
I
fucking
encourage
cool.
weird niche subcultures like that. Let's do more of that around here. So Ratman lends Cage some fuel for his car, and he brings Bernice out to his crashed car. The suit starts prompting Cage for Bernice to speak her name into the microphone. Bernice is still not talking. Cage gets upset with her, and the bomb starts beeping again. So he gives up, saying he can get her home before his initial 3 days are up, and the bomb goes off anyway. So he proceeds to strip the mannequin disguise off of Bernice. After this is done, he goes. This is the scene we're gonna close the episode on because I think it's the perfect cliffhanger. But Cage goes to give Bernice water, but she refuses to swallow, like her head's tilted back, and the water spills out of her mouth. This, unfortunately, for Hero, I guess, excites him a little bit too much, and one of the testicule bombs goes off, blowing off one of his nuts. I mean, like literally, he holds it up, and we can see the testicle, testicule. And this causes him to pass out, understandably, and then we get a lot of weird dream sequences that we will go through in the next episode, I think. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that sounds good.
That's a good place to start. It just fucked the people right up in the beginning.
Yep. Yeah. The testicle bomb, man. That was a moment.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that to happen that early in the movie. It was it really put a period on that piece.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, and before I forget, because this is kind of important as well. So when Cage is pulling off the mannequin pieces from Bernice, this scene is important for two reasons. One, when he pulls off part of the mannequin piece on one of Bernice's thighs, he sees a scar, like a circular scar on her leg, and he goes, "Oh, that's a pretty good scar. Did you get that rollerblading?" Woo! And so we got a Nic Cage woo in there, which is
gotta love a woo.
It's one of his go-tos, dude. And every time he does it, I'm like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, Nic Cage and Ric Flair have a lot in common, I think.
I mean, hopefully
well,
not
Nic
the
Cage
sexual assault.
No, hopefully not.
Nick Cage doesn't oversell it, okay? Like a little woo will get you. It's like salt, man. You want to throw a pinch in at the right moment to brighten the flavors of the rest of the act.
A
And
little woo
Cage
will
does it
do.
pretty good. Yeah, a little woo will do.
Right. I don't need Ric Flair giving me 28 woos on his way to the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need to hear a woo that sounds like a long drawn out scream from a Linkin Park song. Just give me a little woo. A little woo will do. But yeah, no. So we got the woo, we got the setup, we got the scar, we got the testicule bomb. God damn, so much in such a small segment of this episode. So I hope everybody enjoyed the first part of Prisoners of Ghostland, and I will promise you that it only gets fucking weirder from here. So in the meantime, while you're waiting to see what happens to the prisoners and to figure out if they ever get out of the Ghostlands, feel free to follow us on social media. You can find us on Twitter at cagefight_pod. I keep hearing about this Patreon where we're definitely watching The Wrestler very, very soon, coming soon. But where do the people access this, Rich?
Patreon.com/Nic Cage Fight. Man, I was on Twitter the other day, and that place is just a shithole. Like, we need to get on, what's the new one? Sky Blue or Blue Sky or something?
You got to get fucking invited to that. And
I tried. I'm actually on the wait list.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me know. And when you get invite, send it to me because as soon as I heard about it, and as soon as I heard it was invite only, I defaulted to my Groucho Marx position, which is I don't care to be a member of any club that would have somebody like me as a member. So I effectively just gave up on that one. But I will say, as far as Twitter is concerned, the phenomena of the $8 blue check mark is fascinating. If you find people and behaviors interesting, it is just had a very fascinating effect because some viral thing happens, right? And so you pop open the viral tweet and just there are like 150 of the worst opinions you've ever seen or the worst jokes you've ever seen written, just one after another. It is amazing. It's instant wasteland.
Yeah, fucking Elon turned Twitter into Facebook. It's great.
Yeah, but just like it's like the opposite of cream rising to the top.
The shit has risen to the top.
Yeah, those turds are floating at this point, man. It's nuts. I don't know. It's interesting watching, a site like that sort of implode in front of our very eyes, but not like I think it's necessarily an immediate threat of going anywhere. It's just a fascinating change of landscape for it. I don't know what it's going to do in the long run, but in the short term, it certainly is. It's different.
It's certainly a thing that's happening.
Different.
Yeah, it is a thing that's happening. So yeah, check us out on Twitter. We don't have the blue check mark. If you're paying for the blue check mark, maybe just check us out on Facebook. That might be more your speed.
How you doing, uncles?
Or if you have a blue check mark, I've probably already blocked you.
It's possible.
That's half my day at this point. It's just going on Twitter, finding blue check marks and blocking them.
There's a dude who wrote a script that auto blocks all blue check marks for you.
Yeah,
they send that over to you.
They shut that shit down. You're talking about the block the blue?
Yeah, block the blue.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they shut that down.
Ah, bummer.
I like going through it.
Me too.
I like seeing the dog shit opinions, but also I like seeing it when somebody has a blue check mark and they're not dog shit, and my face turns into that meme from New Jack City.
I mean, guys gotta have hobbies.
No, I'm sorry. I will say, much like I like seeing just like the weirdest little dude in a movie, I like seeing some of the weird freaks that pop up on Twitter because like you find somebody in like a particular niche of internet psychosis that you weren't aware exists. You're like, oh shit, this person thinks Paula Deen is invading their dreams. I guess you know what I mean? Like I
want to meet that guy.
You find the weirdest people, like the guy that doesn't think that the earth is flat, but the moon most certainly is flat.
Oh yeah, it's shaped like a fucking dinner plate. What are you talking about?
Oh, there's
how else are you gonna cover it with cheese?
There's a sponsored tweet that I just got that it's called Supremacy 1914. What if World War One never happened? The top tweet is, I like that map a lot because it's just Germany everywhere.
No.
Yeah, that's not
Yeah,
good.
that's a dog whistle right there.
I don't even know if it counts as that.
I don't know if it does. That's
I
just,
think it might be a little bit
popcorn.
louder than that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, Twitter's fucked. Follow us on there. You know, we'll fiddle, and we can just watch it burn together. It'll be a fun time. But yeah, tune in next time for when we wrap up Prisoners of Ghostland. And as always, listeners, we appreciate you.